Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build Live from Oak Hill Works. How are you all doing this evening? I hope you are well. God, it's good to be back. I did not enjoy that week off. And yes, so here we are. Back again. We are unfortunately not Slim Shady though. We do, however, have a nice Roxey Mouldings kit. It's a very funny looking terrier. It is, isn't it? With some funny liveried carriages behind it. We seem to have changed company here. So the aim of tonight's stream is to build an LSWR 6-wheel passenger brake and get high on plastic while doing so. Good evening, I don't know right, cheers, won myself DC set I had a while ago. Excellent. I approve of winning things. May I ask, were you alright last Sunday? Last Sunday was very complicated. I needed some time to myself. The important thing is I am better now. It took a few days for me to recover from everything, but I'm okay. And there is no need to worry about it. And in the preceding time, I have been bringing home lots and lots of stuff to repair for people, and I seem to have actually become a professional railway modeller, which is a bit weird. I've spent a good portion of this last week sat in this room. In fact, I've spent today repairing a V1. And being paid for it is a bit weird, this. But going professional does mean we have to make some changes, which with this plain white kit, if I open it up you should see it is lovely and white on my white workbench. Some of these changes may be beneficial. We have a cutting mat. Good evening, Michael McCarville. How are you? I hope you are well. Yeah, we actually have a cutting mat. We're 104 episodes in. And I finally got one. Of course, being the true professional that I am, I haven't actually checked that all the parts are in this box. I do have another box with the same kit, so parts are between them. And good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you this evening? I definitely said railway properly there. I don't know what you are on about. Should probably take these instructions from the last stuff we did. Which is, of course, some wagons. Who remembers those? Feels like forever ago, doesn't it? And we should replace them with these instructions, which have a lot more text. You are well. You hope I am too. I am indeed very well this evening. It is so nice to be back behind this camera. I did miss it last week, but circumstances conspired against me. There we go. I have instructions that I can read. And some drawings. These kits are less kits, more here's a load of plastic card and some drawings. Yeah, I had noticed that when I was looking through them before. Glazing, we do not want this. We will not be glazing it. Aha, there's a side. And there's a side. And there's some ends. And there's some more ends, because we need 4 ends, apparently. And a roof. This is definitely how long this carriage is going to be. Ignore the fact the sides are this long. The roof needs to be this long, obviously. I'd point out that says deck at the start there. That's deckhead. D-E-C-K. Yeah? Good. Glad we've got that sorted. And we have some drop lights. Yes, that's the right word. And some other bits of plastic for doing other things. As I explained, I am now a professional railway modeller, which means I have been nowhere near this kit. I have not looked at the instructions. I have no idea what we're doing. So, you know, it should all go well. That camera's a bit high up, really, isn't it? If we put that down there, you're going to get a better view of what I'm doing. And what are we doing? We are starting by taking this knife blade, which you can see is all nicely scratched and the tip's missing, and we are taking this off the knife. We are, whilst we do that, looking for where my pop for the sharps is. I do not see it. That's handy. A new knife blade and proper glue and a cutting mat. Yeah. We have all the things. You spoil us, and that. I mean, could I really not use a new knife blade? I've still got quite a few left. Been under my baseball for the last 5 minutes, unable to reply, but for the record, I approve of ... New knife blades and Gary being better, Gary professional railway modeller, cutting mats and the LSWR. Excellent. Do you know what else you'll approve of, James? You will approve of these free paints here. Because these free paints here are A, acrylic, you'll notice, which means I use them for painting small figure-like things. And B, colour matched to my mum's cat. These are paints for the kittens. Indeed, James, kitten paint. I thought you would like that. So yes, these kits are, of course, for those that don't know, the reason Roxey Mouldings is called Roxey Mouldings is because in the early days, everything was vacuum formed mouldings. Feels apple strudel and custard. Who doesn't, really? Good to see you streaming again. Cheers, Ian. Welcome, Ian. How are you? I hope you are well. It is absolutely wonderful to be streaming again. It feels so good to be back doing this. Did you have to bring the cat to the shop to colour match the paints? No, I used the photo that I took to show you on Discord the other day. So because I had that photo, I was able to do it. So yes, they were all vacuum formed mouldings back in the day. And they are significantly bigger than the coach side. So the roof line is here. The end is here and here. Though the bottom's in the right place. So we need to cut those down first and foremost. Had some bad tinnitus for a couple of weeks, feeling better, feeling a lot better, thanks. I'm glad to hear you're feeling better, Ian. I can imagine that is not very fun. Is this sudden outburst of LSWR a Linny inspired adventure perchance? This is a Linny owned adventure. We are doing the building work and sending it back to Linny. Roxy sides were sometimes just pressed into a warm sheet as opposed to vacuum forming like the roof. Ah, interesting. Thank you, Ian. Prove the bottom's been in the right place, as do I. Mine firmly in the right place on this chair. However, I did purchase these two carriages here from Linny to go behind my Adams radial, which I've had since they came out. I got that Adams radial from the shop I now work in on the day they were released. And I took it over to my office, which at the time was on the opposite side of the road to the model shop. It was very dangerous for my bank balance, that was. But many good times were had. Linny has since replaced the carriages with more appropriate ones for the layout. Yes, which is good. We approve of more appropriate carriages. So we are going to put our straight edge down the edge of the carriage and slice with our nice shiny new knife blade. Until we're happy that it's gone through properly. So you're building carriages for Linny and Linny has built carriages for you. I don't believe Linny, I believe Linny bought these. But otherwise, yes. Oh, there's 48-foot non-corridors in the background. They're about that, probably. They're triangle clerestories. Must come visit you in the Eastbourne shop at some point. Definitely. Yes, you must. I am having a great time working there and a great time chatting with customers and doing many repairs. Although the repairs I do here. And there we are for cutting on that side. Definitely very bash clerestories being lengthened by a fair amount. There we go. So as I say, being the professional modeller I am, I have been working on a V1 all day, which come Tuesday will be in the shop for 50 quid apparently. So if anyone wants a V1 that will be working perfectly. I've been listening to sea shanties this afternoon. Apparently it's quite fashionable these days. Yes, I hear that sea shanties are quite fashionable these days. Something to do with TikTok, which apparently is an evil social network that we should avoid. I don't know. I've never been on it to comment. I already have a V1 in my attic that I bought in the 1990s. Excellent. It's a rather nice loco, other than being Bachmann split chassis. Have you read the instructions about fitting the roof before trimming the top of the sides? No. Of course not. Surely no more evil than any other. I've heard it is, James. I have heard it very much is more evil. Amazing what can do with old RTR. It is indeed. There is nothing that says to me not to do this in the instructions, Linny. Well, more even in what way the US government is not fond of competition with its national technology sector, so I'm very sceptical of claims from a state-based source. It's not a state-based source. This is a source from... This is a first-hand source from UK education, the UK education sector, not a government source. But yes, I too would be wary with something from the US government about it, because I am aware of their feelings in that way. But yeah, there's nothing to say not to trim this, Linny. Just cement ceiling in place, trim edge of roof, cement in place, trim ends. Anyone notice how I managed to trick Gary into reading the instructions before building things though? Terrible. Surely UK education is fun, that's control. No, because it's not a UK. It's someone from within the education sector, not the education sector itself. And Alex says we've done enough politicking, so we'll listen to Alex. There we go. That LSWR livery background does look joyful. It does, and up until me putting them up here last weekend, I put them up here last Sunday, ready for this stream last Sunday. Before that, from the time they arrived here, they have been sat on the layout in the station. SWR had an excellent livery. It did, but I wouldn't recommend using it as a recipe guide. Oh, no, Linny Tristan Garen's reading instructions. When you say you tricked into reading instructions, I'd like to point out I skimmed the instructions for the word roof and read that bit. I haven't read the rest of it. LSWR livery cake. No, we do not want salmon and chocolate cake. So there we have one side cut to size. I think GWR have better cooking ideas. I think you're right, James. And the LNWR, yes. Oh dear. I don't know, the LNWR carriage livery wasn't worth crying about. Oh dear. You're assuming that it was spilt and not split, which is also a thing. Split milk is a thing and has a colour that is different to milk. So to me, that seems the more likely of the two words, but there we go. Milk. Exactly, milk. As in, not milk. Exactly that, James. Exactly that. See? You get me. You know what I mean. Now, vitamin R. Or I could just score until it goes through. It's fine. We're getting nice lines. I'm only using the ruler for your benefit, Linny. I can cut in straight lines without it. I approve of rulers, as do I, especially if I am the ruler. No, I want to keep that one because that's got these. There's no way these are going to show up. Oh, maybe just if I get them in the light right. It's got the vents for above the doors on it. They'll be fun to cut out. Been using a ruler lately, also a ruling pen. And we approve of your work with your ruling pen, Linny. Mine's around here somewhere. Obviously with my sharp pot, wherever that is. Yeah, I'm going to say it's with my sharps pot. One pen to rule them all, and in the darkness line them. Oh dear. 2 carriage sides. We need to form a tumble home in these, and I don't care whether people think tumble home is the right word or not. I know many people that don't. The instructions say tumble home though, so that's what we're going with. And of course, I do have the usual tumble home forming equipment here. Absolutely puntastic tonight. It is, isn't it? And I very much approve. I miss you lot. See, the usual tumble home forming equipment. And yes, just for Linny's benefit, even though you got the command wrong, it's hydration. Hydration is important. Or, as my daughter's friend's brother likes to put it, when he was throwing a bottle of water at his sister, hydrate or dihydrate. Tea towel and the leftovers from a roll of tin foil. Exactly, James. That is exactly what we use as the standard tumble home forming equipment. Also remember to smash that like button, everyone. Every like helps the channel. What Linny said, and that help really will be rather appreciated this weekend, because after the fact we have not actually put anything up on the channel for over a week now, YouTube looks at that like, oh, you must have given up. Let's not promote you anymore. This weekend I've mostly been installing buttons on my layout. Excellent, I approve of buttons. I have some switches to install. So we can I thought, Alan. Yeah, I'm not going to try and say that. Okay, I am. Aluminium. There we go. Taste to it. Tumble home tea towel, indeed. Let me get my hammer. So just a bit like that. And we're starting to form a curve. Sew them on by hand, James. Oh. I've missed this. I've missed this chat so much. I have no idea why either. Let's give this another fold. So I've got my hammer, smash the like button, now my screen's broken. Let me try again on my phone. Good idea, Thomas. Good idea. Missed it, better work on your aim. You're quite right. No, I don't need to work on my aim. How dare you? I am a qualified marksman, I'll have you know. Home detail. Have you seen the new merch? Just imagine myself and James as all sat on the balcony. Well, why not? No, broke the phone too. Next time I'll just tickle it. Less breakage of things. Fair enough. That's completely your decision. Few accounts. Is a portmanteau of free light? I guess it is, yes. Oh look, there's a link to my Twitter as well. You can go and follow me there. Do all the stalky things on my favourite social media platform. Unless Discord counts. Does Discord count? Tell you what, this doesn't like bending as quickly as brass does. But it's got a bit of a curve to it. We will see how much more it needs once we've got the ends cut out. Discord counts. Well, if Discord counts, Discord is my favourite, followed by Twitter. For those who may think I'm not joking about getting a hammer, it's a joke. We're about to use live chat messages. But I assume everyone's joking about everything all the time, Thomas. I put all my model railway videos there. It's a good place to put them. I enjoy watching them, James. They are so very well made. Much better than anything this channel can ever expect to have on it. I really did install buttons on my layout. Okay, fair enough. And as Linny asked, did you sew them on yourself? That's it. I'm sure you will make some splendid videos. Yeah, but they won't ever be as good as yours, James. Yours are just so professional and well narrated. And mine won't be because I'm making them. Braiding the wires is a bit like sewing. I suppose it is, yes. Well, that was my disappointing. We need to augment the commands to keep things looking sharp. It's only natural. Not a major change. Buttons should only come in a purple bag. Yes. Some of the buttons are for a TRTS panel, some of them are some miscellaneous buttons in case I decide I want some buttons. Yep, fair enough. Buttons are good. Yeah, there we go. There we go. They have a bit of a tumble home in them, and we will see how much more of a tumble home they need when we have the ends cut out. So it wants us to do the drop lights next. Which is fine. I mean, I only have 6. Which is not even a coach worth. That one will be for setting off the pre-training train. Aha. Well, they chocolate button inspects. The all to miscellaneous station announcements to decide what to do with them. That's a good idea. I approve of station announcement buttons. The other kit has no drop lights at all. So those 6 drop lights are all we have. Just means we have to make a couple more. Perhaps for their sins, I want my buttons to not melt. I approve of buttons not melting. I think there are more in the box. There are not. If there's a Mrs. Jones Smith on the station, please come by the booking platform for. Don't let them melt, then just eat them. My recommendation is the orange buttons. Definitely better stands it. Tastes like Terry's chocolate orange, but in button form. I approve of Terry's chocolate orange flavoured things. If I ate the buttons, how would I set off random announcements? That's a very good point, James. Feel free to have some of the windows open. Just need to represent the top of the drop light. Let's strip a plastic card then. True. I have plenty of plastic card. I'm going to see if I've got some the same thickness as these so we can match them. Let's move my transfers out the way and do this without destroying my mug, which I nearly knocked off the side. Oh no, we don't want to use you. Yes, there we go. Matching thickness plastic card. See, ever the professional, I have everything. Not sure, BRT don't like it. Inspector sounds very long. Terry chocolate orange and butter form sounds tasty. It does indeed. So that's it. Tell Carriage produce the same chocolate in the new orange flavoured dairy milk. License they're doing chocolate oranges. Are Terry's owned by Cadbury? I didn't know that. Late summer, early autumn. So, yeah, you'll want some open windows then. So we've got a bit of plastic card that's the same thickness as the drop lights. Nice and smooth there. So we can make a few more, no problem. Move this light out of the way. I don't know why I'm holding the knife. I'm not even going to use the knife next. I'm going to draw. No moving. I suggest the middle windows, the guard doors, should both have the open windows and possibly one on each side of the double doors. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, Cabrion Terrace, can't remember how I found that out, but I must have looked it up one day. Fair enough. Who was Terry anyway? A guy that liked making chocolate, obviously. If you like chocolate orange, try Tia Maria and orange juice. I will consider it, but I will have forgotten by the end of this live stream. Sounds like someone's setting off fireworks. Just for Linny's benefit. Spore and snap. And then we want to go around the edge of these, just outside of the line we've drawn. Good when your knife does that. One thing that's very nice is orange sponge. It's very nice orange sponge. It does sound it indeed. And a link to the Terry's article on Wikipedia. Why, thank you, Alex. It's very tasty with evaporated milk, not malt. Someone's done dishes off. Oh dear. You're all insane, and I very much approve. Of being insane. I'm not swimming in Paris. I'm not insane. Insane. Yeah, I suppose that's almost insane. You definitely are, though, Linny. Because the thing about pre-grouping modelers is they're all insane. But I wouldn't go swimming in that river in Paris either. I'm not even plaster of Paris, so I best get out before it sets, oh dear. Definitely not. I think plaster of Paris gets very, very hot when setting. Well, does it? I did not know that. In a mad world, only the mad are sane. True. It's on scene. Should be cosy in winter then. Well, yes. Oh dear, there goes the tip of the knife. I shouldn't have spun it with the knife in there like that, really, should I? I was asking for that to happen, really. There's apparently an orange version of the Terry's Chocolate Orange called Terry's Chocolate Orange Orange. Is there now? Can I request one guard's window to be fully down, just the top showing, so I can have guard leading out, watching the train into out of the station? That makes perfect sense. I think that would be a very fine feature. I've lost count of how many times I've cut this one. There we go. And the bot says hydration is important. I've lost count of the number of times I've lost count of things. I never even bothered starting to count that in the first place, if I'm honest, James. Thanks, Gary Bot. I'll have a sip out of my Wilco flask. Good, Gary Bot. Making sure Thomas hydrates. I'll tell you, I sat in here yesterday working on a Flying Scotsman. Was it yesterday? Discord will know. I posted pictures to Discord when I was doing it. Didn't even bring a drink in with me. That's what it's like when the bot's not there to remind me. It's better. This one here is going to be our fully down window because it's not quite square in the wrong way. So now we want to bring all of our drop lights back. And we're going to need to individually cut them out, stick them to the windows. And in some cases we're going to have to lose a section off the bottom of them so that they don't interfere with the tumble home and stuff at the bottom. Okay, now I want a command that is just die or it makes Gary Bot go hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. No, you're not getting it. So we'll start with this one that we've said is going to be the fully down window. So we will just see it like that. Yep, I can see those lines. That's perfect. Thank you, Lenny. I am glad you approve. Now, time for a refill. I approve of refills. I, of course, have 2 litres of the generic fizzy orange liquid next to me. As generic as Hornby. More generic than Hornby. There it is. Because this generic orange liquid is actually generic. I'm going to use a bit of blue tack to hold it just into the right place there. So we can see it is down with just a tiny bit for the window showing. And now it's not going to move whilst we glue it. £3.95 in a certain model shop in Eastbourne, everyone. I had a brush set aside for this. Where is it? Good idea. I like it. I'm glad you like it. I want to be able to see the plastic weld in the bottle as I do this, for what I hope are obvious reasons. I don't think there was actually any left by the time of that last one there. Oh no, I didn't quite get this side either. And I don't think anything came out there. Of course, that is why I want to be able to see the plastic weld, so I can see if I've actually put the brush in it. Oops. I was brushing along the side here because we didn't quite have a seal. We now do. And I can remove the blue tack and we have a window down. Spilt plastic weld before. Bad thing to do is it melted one end of the kit I was working on. Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah. By which I mean at some point as I sit here using it, I'm going to do that. Can now put some along the top edge now that the blue tack is off. I've done it and melted the top of the table. Well, it's a good job that my table is made of glass and wood then, isn't it? And it actually is wood, technically. Underneath the glass is MDF, but around the edge of the glass, the actual tabletop is ply. Ply of the same thickness as the glass. About 5mm. So yeah, there is your first drop light in. So you say we're going to put one down on each pair of doors on the luggage then, Linny, as well. And then the other two up. Need a glue spill command for such occasions. No, one down per carriage side. Ah, okay. That makes sense. That makes many sense. So I take it you want it to be maybe opposite corners to get a draft through. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Obviously, you beat me to it. So, if we get some more cuts. Now these ones, of course, it does actually matter where I cut the sides because I need to be able to fit the window in next to them. So if I mark that there, though one being the outermost window and one being the next one in, be a nice bit of difference between sides. Yeah, that makes sense. So one down like that and one down like that on opposite sides. And there is one drop light in place. I assure you it is centred, even there we go, that's showing up now, isn't it? Darn child locks, thinking I'm a child. That's no good. It's not touching, it won't weld, it's okay. And there we go, back nice and central. So we'll get these two corners stuck, take the blue tack off, get the other two corners done. So, I'm going to ask early this evening, what's everyone else up to this evening whilst I work away? Do tell me about your projects or computer games or other such things. I do like hearing about them. I'm always interested in what I am the background noise to. Oh, and there's a link to the website from the chatbot. Don't forget about my website, it's awesome. I definitely haven't basically ignored it and not put up any details about the finished in here yet. No, I don't know what you're on about. Super glue my fingers together. Don't we all do that? Don't we all? Ruining a Hornby coach tonight? Excellent. I approve of ruining a Hornby coach, Tom. And how are you? I hope you are well. No, I need to come a bit more across with that so I can see what I'm doing. Because seeing what you're doing is important. There we go. Working on LSWR D84 gas tank as designed by Javier. Ah, excellent, Andy. Excellent. Glasses, PPE size are useful. Glasses? I don't need glasses. They're not next to me or anything. And there's our half down drop light also fitting in. Just fitted the electric lighting cable to the ends of the coach. Brilliant. It is great hearing that coach is making progress. There we are, Linny. Is that what you were picturing? I'm hoping it's a yes. That's it. Excellent. I'm in the process of adding latest addition to the fleet, Birch Grove with head codes. Wahey! I approve of E4s. I definitely haven't just sold an E4 that I had totally destroyed in its ownership with me. Not a chance. I mean, some of the destruction happened before I got it. No, attack, come off. Trick drop lights carriage. You have drop light down, gives you another half drop light to use elsewhere. Makes them go further. You would think so, but I've used about 3/4 of this drop light here. Although saying that, Lenny, before I cut all these drop lights up and stick them in, would you like me to at least draw up and maybe even cut out some more for you to have for your other one? Because I've only drawn up enough for me to do this coach. But there we are, and then this side will have both of them up. No thanks, I'll mainly be using the other kit for parts. Fair enough, I won't bother then. I am going to remind everyone though that hydration is important because it's really warm here this evening. I need to get a thermometer in here. It's 13 degrees and raining outside apparently. Definitely not in here. And I shall refill the hydration vessel whilst I'm at it because I emptied it. I'm going to use these two on this side because why not? I approve of refills. Refills are the best kind of refills. So we're going to cut that there and there. And then we're going to line it up here and get a marking down the middle of the doors. In fact, glad to see you back in, Gary. Hope you're all good. Missed this last week, dude. Good evening, Rob. Good to have you here. I am significantly better than I was last week. Thank you. I hope you are well. And there we go. That is nice and central in that door. Is this one of the diagrams you sent to Rob to be able so that he could do it then, Linny? See, the bluest of tacks. Indeed, the bluest of tacks. I'm almost done with this side, look. They've almost all got their drop lights in. I'm going to start this way again. A slice there. And there. But that's our knocking at the door. Knocking at the door at this time. I hope you ordered a takeaway. There were a high-vis that said police on it. How very rude of them. LSWR passenger brake, very lovely. Indeed, LSWR passenger brake. 30-foot six-wheeler, yes. There we go. That one is now nice and central as well. Cool coaches, indeed, Mr. LMS Ginty. They are coaches. Well, We're having an LSWR themed evening this evening, and we have lots of LSWR coaches as a result, including the one I'm working on. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. What happened to the influence stream, by the way, Gary? Still waiting for bits for another stream slot. So I've got the bits now. It will be coming back to be finished off once we're done with this project. So yes, it's actually sat up next to me. There it is. And there is the much bendier bit of brass for the roof. So it shall return as soon as we're done playing with other people's stuff. Very glad to hear you are well. Excellent. I am glad to hear you are. So there we are, one side complete with drop lights. Which means it's time to do the same to this side. Unfortunately, carriages have to do these things, so we have to get a bit repetitive. How do you want the guard's window in this one, Linny? That shall be my first question. Guard's drop light down on this side too, please. Okay, all the way down or halfway? So our 5-foot size model, look forward to printing. It may well be. It is one of those. All the way again, then it's correct for either platform. That makes sense. It's the elliptical roof one. Go, there you are. I have, for some reason, taken my 2 bits of blue tack and turned them into 1 bit of blue tack. That was very silly. Don't do that again. not allowed to move once I've put the blue tack on. There we go. That's better. It's a shame the price labels at work don't have the shop name or something on them, isn't it? Because the amount of free advertising I'd be giving the shop at the minute with that label. And the fact I wouldn't be getting paid for it means it technically wouldn't be sponsorship. There we are. So we're going for this end again for one open, because then they will sit opposite each other on the carriage. On this one we did the inside window half down, so on this one it's going to be the outside window half down. Look at me remembering things I'm supposed to do. One day you'll believe me about this professional stuff. But before then, I'll have to start believing me about it. Now let's do down the middle first. And there we are, another drop light cut. And positioned. And before anyone starts accusing me of making this look easy, it's not that hard. If I can do it, you can do it. Well, provided you can use a knife safely, that is. I don't want to go encouraging people that aren't very good with knives to go chopping themselves up. Gosh, nearly halfway through the stream already. I know, I was quite surprised by that as well. Shows how little I get done, doesn't it? One day I'll start working on double gauge rolling stock for my SR layout again. There's much engagery to do before then. Hopefully there will be I3s and D1s galore. I approve of I3s and D1s. I in fact have, just above me, a drawing of an I3 drawing and a D1 drawing. Yes, it is a D1. Got D3 around here somewhere as well. Ah, there's the D3 even higher. With an E4. Those are happy sorts of drawings. They are just above my pinboard. An I3 and a D1. And a D3 and an E4. Just a quick look in this evening, I'm afraid. Good evening, Stephen. How are you? I hope you are well, even if it is just a quick look in. I approve of I3s and D1s. Indeed, as do I. There's also an L-class drawing in front of me. You will notice that all the drawings in front of me are things we have done at some point on the channel. I have two i3 models in Umber, an SR Olive and a D1 in Olive. I have two i3s in Umber and D1 in Improved Engine Green, and a D3 in Umber, an E4 in Umber, and another one to go into Goods Green, and an L in Photographic Grey. I approve of Linda's approval of I3s and D1s and also L classes. Yes, I very much approve of L classes. They're wonderful looking machines, aren't they? So let's get some markings on here. One about there. One about there. Photographic grey. It is a livery worn to best show up on black and white film of the time, so that you could see the details of it. The L's were perhaps a little underappreciated. I'm not sure they were. That they were, I think they were very well regarded machines when they were working the Brighton main line until electrification came along. It's only post rebuild that they started to become less liked. Perhaps they are rather than were. Yeah, fair enough. I'll let you have that one then. And of course, the reason they weren't as liked post-rebuild is because they had boilers that were designed for running up and down the Brighton main line at 60 and making stops, not for non-stopping the length of the southwestern main line. Can't look at that, a nice fit right in the middle there. And it still stays there. Yes, the M15 it is. We'll put on stopping services, e.g. via Alton. Yeah. But it was not the work they were designed to do, and it was the wrong type of boiler for it, which is why they were not as well liked, because they couldn't perform it as well as they could perform their jobs in and out of Brighton and Victoria. So we've already discussed this, but I gave this kit some antiquity. The panel looks rather well defined. Yes, this early 70s is the best guess. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a price for spares on here, which I do. Some of my kits have. So the boys got a white metal cardine kit that has the price for spares in pre-decimal, so I can date it a bit better. This does not. But yeah, the panelling is really well defined. It is a very nice, sharp kit. Wrong type of boiler, exactly. Well, they're not well suited even to Southampton via Alton stoppers. I think they were better at that than when they were used on the services going out to the west of England. But would they not have been able to do Southampton to Alton still as tank engines? Brighton tank engines were remarkably efficient with fuel, after all. Why Roxey moved away from vacuum forming and into etches, I don't know. You would have to ask Dave Hammersley. That means I was spoken to Mr. Roxey Mouldings lately, who was happy to sell me white metal castings from kits, so spares are still available, just not of the pressed size. Ah, excellent. Yes, but the SR didn't like big tank engines after 7.8s. Yeah, but the SR were wrong. Big tank engines are great. Especially the Brighton ones, like the L's. What's the material like to work with? One might be concerned that nearly 50 years old, might be brittle, got to form that turn under tumble home. So it's quite nice to cut, actually. It's not gone brittle at all, and is very nice and flexible still. We did do some tumble home forming. There is a very slight curve. It's not taken it very well, and I'm going to go back to the tumble home again after I've cut the ends out so I can check it better as I'm doing it. Proof potato engines, but yes, the SCR lines weren't as well laid, those GNI, LBSC, and probably LSWR. Well, I mean, the Brighton big tanks, especially the L, were slightly better designed. The L, because it had issues to start with. So the L class had very large tanks on its side, but the top half of them was cosmetic. Originally it wasn't, but they weren't very stable. So the top half of the tanks was sealed off and was purely cosmetic. And then they had a well tank as well. So the centre of gravity was still reasonably low on them once they were properly in service. Did the LBSC have water troughs? No, it did not. Don't believe any of the southern companies did. Suitably flexible on plastic card might need to make a curved backing piece. You are right, that may well be something that I have to do, because as I say, it really has not taken the tumble home well, and I think it has completely come back out. But it will be revisited once we cut the ends out. Hence why SR locos had huge tenders. Exactly, Alex. That's why the Bully Pacific used on BR Exchange trials had to have a standing tender to let it use water troughs. Yes. The M7s were originally intended for express work, but were considered too unstable fast run. Water troughs not compatible with third rail electrification. No, I could see those things not getting on well. Especially all those LSWR lines, LSWR engines too had water cart tenders. Yes, yes they did. No, I didn't just stab myself. You saw nothing. If anyone thinks they saw that, they're wrong. Hydration is still important. But yeah, with the tanks on the L-Class, the second batch of them almost got built without the big tall tanks, and just they did mock-ups out of plywood in Brighton Works. And it looked not much bigger than what you would expect a splasher to look like. I have a photo in one of my books. I will have to be... If someone on Discord reminds me to send the photo, I'll put the photo on Discord tomorrow, or even maybe tonight after stream. Gonna have to go. My head's killing me. Night all. Good night, Alex. I hope you feel better in the morning. Go rest and be happy. Nothing wrong with tank engines for express work on a good road. After Sevenoaks, a river was tried out on the Great Northern Main Line. Grizzly on the footplate, they took it up to 80. That's pretty good. Yeah, 80 is pretty good on a tank engine. So I still find it impressive that when Stroudley was in France with the Terrier on the trip that he did not return from. Well, he did return, but his body did. They took the Terrier out on the main line and took it up to 60. Which I think is quite impressive for a Terrier. And there we go, nice and central again, with the blue tack holding it in place. But yeah, the accident at Sevenoaks was more because of the ballast being shingle rather than the loco, was it not? Because of short course shingle being smooth, does not lock together very well. And so Mr. Drummond's bug was timed at 85 on one occasion. Indeed it was. His guest was not best pleased. I suppose the LBSC had better ballast and the LSWR. Well, the LBSC still used shingle for ballast, so it can't have been great. It surprises me that shingle ballast lasted as long as it did. Unlikely, unfortunately, not enough passenger carrying capacity to be profitable. Indeed, it would be an interesting thing to see, but yeah, it's never going to happen. Interesting, I should remember that if I want a proper LBSC, one will need to have round model ballast. So, you get to pull one or two coaches in theory. Well, maybe. So, the LBSC's ballast, James, came from Eastbourne. The shingle pits are actually still there in a couple of places. Near the harbour. What I'm going to do is, because of course I'm working in Eastbourne now, I'm going to take a tub with me and go down on the beach and acquire some sand, which is of course just small shingle. Perfect model ballast. Those ballast cure was reballasting with material from the ex-LSWR Meldon Quarry and BRS days. Standard 4 264Ts were very successful. Indeed they were. Because of how many of them were built at Brighton, obviously, though, Stephen. Faster, stronger, better harbour. Locally sourced modelling materials. Exactly. Locally sourced and accurate. Ideal. So the fact I've done all of those without having to adjust any cuts really impresses me. Was it really a Terrier that was taken Paris exhibition of 1889 holding Lewis Stroudley's engines? It was indeed, and yes, you would have expected it to be something newer. But it was number 40 Brighton, which is now preserved on the Isle of Wight. I can't remember what his Isle of Wight number is. But yes, it is one of the preserved ones as well. Yes, Lost Cause, I3 would be a better subject. I3 would be a much better subject, Paul. I'd love to see a new build i3, and I'm sure James would approve. Reply later was grinding things with PPE, but the Eastbourne Sanders LBSC Valor is a very cunning plan indeed. I should look forward to seeing that on your layout. Yes, I think it's a great idea. I'm glad you agree. i3 or D1, both. Once you have sent me, what is it, 10 million to build a D1, we'll start fundraising for an i3. How's that? I'm quite happy to make all these things happen if you lot pay for them. Seems reasonable to me. Brighton is now Newport, according to our Lights website, so it's W11. Well, hey! W11 Newport is Brighton, and I went to Paris in 1889 and took home a gold medal from the Paris exhibition. I don't know what was a gold medal in. For all I know, it was 100 metre backstroke. I just know it got a gold medal. New build Ruston went, well, why do we need a new build Ruston? There's plenty of those about. So we have all the drop lights in place on this thing that will not focus. Gold medal for the most adorable. I'm going to keep pretending that it was gold medal for 100 metre backstroke. Because that seems like, well, you know, why not? Oh no, we want to do the ventilators over the doors first. i3 is greater than D1, still a good Atlantic. Oh, I don't know. I think I prefer a D1 to an i3, if I'm being honest, James. Hydration still important, especially when hot. Oh, it was 1878 was Terrier, was it? Fair enough. Fair enough. Still haven't found out what the 1889 engine was. You're a Stroudley shill. I am. You're quite right, James. I am indeed. 48, that's a 48 by appearance, but has a modern engine that can fit but produce many more horses. Yeah, but then it's not a 48. See? If you're going to do that, you could just re-engine a 48. So yeah, we want the ventilators above the door. That one's cut off. That's helpful. They both are. Oh, good. That was me, wasn't it? They're actually, they're right on the edge. So it's going to be a pain to get them shaped right. Because I've got to come round and follow the curve right into the corner. I would have been better doing this without having cut them down. But there we go. You're probably right, Thomas. It probably is Time Lord's technology. I can't see any other way of fitting that many horses in. Get rid of those bits because those are just the bits that say Roxey Mouldings on them. I'm actually going to put my glasses on for this. How? Oh, we can't see it. There is a hair. It is coming down the inside of my glasses. It goes up, but it is between the lens and the frame. I need to get that out before I put them on. Got it. But how did it get there? How did a hair get between the lens and the frame? No, not rabbit, it's a hare. Definitely a hare. Oh yes, I can see these much better now. I quite often forget just how blind I am. If I bring this slightly too big on these corners, I can clean it up with a file. There we go. Must head off. Up early for working morning. Really good stream so far. Thank you for coming, Matt. Has been great to have you here. Sleep well. Enjoy work tomorrow. My work tomorrow shall be sat in here. 889 Midland to be brand new 422 number 1853 and especially built 1 off 12 wheel brake composite. Engine won a gold medal and carriage. Engine won a gold medal and carriage at Grand Prix. Excellent. What was that also a gold medal in the 100 metre backstroke? Like the Terrier. I'll put my tweet. There they are. So I'm sure I put them away after pulling that hair out. And there we go. That one sits there. Must have been a fast carriage car against one cars. Should think dressage. Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. I was never much of a dressage person when I had horses. Mine were jumpers. I'll be honest, I was never much of a horsey person when I had horses either, so there's that. It has not stuck very well. And by not very well, I mean not at all. There we are, much better. On to the next one. So I didn't get a huge response when I asked earlier, so I'm going to ask again. What are we all up to this evening? I do like to know what everyone's doing. It's very interesting. We are soon approaching our third and final hour for tonight. Googling 1889 Paris expedition. Yeah, fair enough. I thought that might be your answer, Stephen. Intermittently underneath my layout, wiring point position feedbacks. Ah, excellent. Switch to coach interior painting. Ooh. I take it you're doing more detail than me then with my paint the insides black, no one will ever see it. Well, I did see your picture of your coach before I started streaming that you put up on Discord, Andy, and it's looking very nice. I didn't get to have a proper look at it, but I was very impressed by what I saw. Relaxing with the stream, thinking about bearings for the 04 kit. Well, nice to have you here to relax. I find relaxation is a great way to end the week, and I find sitting here with you lot chatting and modelling is a great way to end the week, which is really weird now that I'm doing this as my job. filling wagons with limestone, trying to cut polystyrene. At the same time, like one hand filling wagons, the other cutting polystyrene. My layout is configured to give realistic alerts in the event of a point failure. That is brilliant, James. I very much approve of that. Still trying to add head codes to Birch Grove and assembling the wheels signal box for my layout. Excellent. Very much approve of coaching team. James, I want to watch B Gladstone. Edward Blount, gold medal, photo looking out on Brighton Circle site has details of the medal all painted on the splasher under the name and some very peculiar. I hate YouTube's comment text limit. So it's so annoying on the live streams when people are trying to send long messages and have a discussion. So I don't need to use much stone. I thought that might be what it was. Yes, that makes sense. It's all good, nothing better than a job you enjoy. That's very true, Thomas. Very true indeed. Now I have some very peculiar wings on the smoke box with what looks like an array of boiler tubes. Interesting. I think I know what you're on about. I can't remember what it was or why, but it was an experimental something or other. There are details of it in Bradley that it can't be that long since I read them. I'll have to read it again because I do have those. I do have them. Also makes the wagons lighter for my less powerful locos. That's a good point. You want a consistent way to cross your wagons, ideally, to help prevent them derailing. Because wagons that are too light will derail. It looks very much like experimental some things. Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember what they are. Moved it to dry, it's fairly heavy, so that's good. So I have a friend who models in P4. He advises weighing any item of rolling stock to 25 grams per axle. So that's what you should aim for. 50 grams about right for double A. There we go. See, Stephen agrees. 50 grams for your two axles. Light wagons bounce back and forth in a most unrealistic manner, indeed. And I must say, after having propelled wagons in P4 through a reverse curve, so an S shape, with the first bit being a set of points and into a siding that runs along parallel to the main line, and having none of them derail. If they tell me 25 grams per axle, then that is the correct thing to do. I was very relieved when that train made it into that siding. HMRS photo claimed to be circa 1910, unconvinced, earlier described as Hammond's air apparatus. Ah, that name rings a bell, yes. Now you'll just have to find out what Hammond's air apparatus is. I say it's all detailed in Bradley though, so I could find out at some point for you. Oh, that is too long, that's why. That's better. On the case, looking back, he would be cheating. Fair enough. This side is also slightly too long. Don't punch the camera. I was looking at new ways to mount the camera to minimise that even more earlier. So I might do that during the week if I'm not too busy repairing locos. I've got 10 sat on the side waiting to be done. But a couple of those are waiting for parts to arrive, so they won't be done until then. tiny bit more to make sure it's actually solidly in place. Every outfit and hammered air apparatus in 1998, so I'll take my rudeness back about the HMRS's dating. It's always reasonable to doubt dates on photos, though. Especially if it's the photo I'm thinking of, where it appears to still be wearing improved engine green. Yes, it was the livery that caused me to doubt. Yeah. So I know the photo you're on about then. This is a newsstand with a day's paper. For directing preheated air into the firebox, the air enters the set of tubes in two drum-like pockets on the upper part of the smoke box, where it was supposed to be warmed by the smoke box gases. Aha, there we go. Obviously, it was really good and worked really well, and that's why nothing else ever got fitted with it. See, Andy, you joke about that, but we were trying to date some pictures on a Skype call with the Uckfield Club the other day. And there was genuinely a point where we were trying to read the headlines off the posters attached to a newsstand so we could work out what the news stories were to try and work out the date. It's believable. Well, it's true. It's completely unclear to me how the hot air then got to the firebox. Yeah, I can't work that out either, because I can't recall anything in the picture showing anything making its way back to the firebox. So even trying to get the dates that way didn't work. In the end, everyone was happy with my suggestion of pre-1905 because the railway line had the sleepers covered with ballast. And at the bot wants you to remember that hydration is important. Does say that when I grab myself an appetizer. Well, there we go then. Ideal. It knew what you were doing. Hydration is very important. Now, the bots are rising up and spying on us. It's okay, Thomas. The bot answers to me, so I'll be fine. It's interesting to think they might actually be able to visit the Model Railway Club sometime this year. That would be excellent if you can. It would be a shame to have to go another year without having to do so. I will admit to having been up to the Uckfield Club rooms myself. Because we have a layout booked in for me to take to a show. So I took a loco and headed up to the club and tested the layout, and the layout worked, and I was very happy. I uploaded a quick video of said loco running on said layout to Discord, along with various pictures of the layout. The following week, another group went along there and broke the blooming layout, and now it doesn't work. And I have told them they can fix it. Suddenly Gary got, I answer no one now. Very much answers to me. I have a close button. Hashtag how. Provable layouts working layouts are the best sort of layouts. They are, James. Hammond's Apparatus, Locomotive Magazine, Volume 14, 1908, page 59. Also Backtrap, Volume 34, 2020, page 292. I know someone who will have a copy of Locomotive Magazine, Volume 14. It'll be a digital copy as well, so I could get the appropriate articles scanned, sent over. If you would like. I ran trains in my club layout yesterday in an open house. I'm very out of practice. Ran a pen CT one into a cold track. Oh. Inconsiderate hooligans breaking everything. Exactly. We're going to ignore the fact that one of the hooligans involved is the club president. Well, Bradley, I'm sure, well, true. Wouldn't mind seeing the article, thanks. I will see what I can do. Could someone message me somewhere? Locomotive Magazine, Volume 14, page 59, please. And possibly Hammond's apparatus so that I know what it's on about. And I will put in the appropriate inquiries to get a copy of the article. Unless, of course, Killian happens to be watching at the moment, in which case, could you send me the article, please? No, I don't want to put the lid back on that just yet. I'm going to peel the blue tack off first. I'm very glad I didn't put the lid back on that because he's not stuck at all. It's not liked doing these bits, this hasn't. Which is very strange. These are literally off the same sheet of plastic. So it's not like one of them is really rubbish and the other one not so much. There we go. Stuck. Now we've got to do the same again. I should point out that this is step 3 of 15. So yeah, there's that. Thanks, P and Everone. Well, I've learned a thing or two about Brighton Engine this evening. Time for bed. Okay, thank you for popping by, Stephen. Great to have you here, as always. And I shall make inquiries for the article for you in the morning. Good night, sleep well. Another 5 times the amount of work to go. Exactly, James. Brighton engines are a happy thing about which to learn a thing or two. They are indeed, James. I don't think I've ever gotten as close to the camera as I am when I'm looking at these to line them up. I'm surprised I can't be seen on it. So with doing this professional modelling thing, one of the jobs I did the other day, once it was done, it worked out at a rate of about £60 an hour. So I make that by the end of this stream, Linny must owe me £180. Is that correct? In fact, saying that Flying Scotsman I did yesterday worked out significantly more than that. I think they came in at close to £160 an hour. Sorry, Linny. Building up these big bills here. So yeah, going back to our conversation earlier and ballast and such forth. Payment is in scale dollars. No, very much real ones, Andy. Definitely real ones. Yeah, in Eastbourne, there is a leisure centre called the Sovereign Centre, right on the seafront. And from the Sovereign Centre is a road and a cycle path that run down parallel to the seafront to the harbour, with a gap between the two. In that gap is mostly green land. All the greenery is grown through shingle, and that area is coincidentally known as the Shingles. And a lot of that shingle just dips down. It's like craters in the ground. And those craters are the former LBSC ballast pits. You can, if you're feeling adventurous, go down into them and dig through. There's not a lot left because it had a proper survey done a few years ago, but there are still things like sleepers and stuff down there that have fallen into the pit after the line was pulled up. Or pits even. Most of the smaller items were removed when they did the survey and put into museums, though. But I do believe, from when I read the report, there is a large section of sleepers in situ that are buried about 6 inches underground along there. So literally just under the topsoil. And I find it amazing that that's all just still sat there. Literally in this place I used to visit at least once a week when I was a kid. If only I'd have known about all the goodies that were there, I'd have had the lot. All the goodies, exactly, James. Oh, this one does not want to stick at all, does it? And there is a photo of an E2, number 100, on that bit of track at those shingle pits. I posted it to Discord reasonably recently, and then Corbs posted a photoshopped version he had done in response to that, as it showed the wagons in better detail than my one. So E2s did have some use? No, not at all. That one lived at Eastbourne, so it had managed to make it from Eastbourne Shed to the shingle pits. Not even, well, probably slightly more than 1/4 of a mile. Probably actually a lot more than that, but I don't know. It's not far. I'm pretty sure the shingle pits were originally horse-worked. Whilst the E2s are underwhelming, if they were utterly useless, why did they survive to the 1960s? As an example of how not to do things. Also, their wheelbase was useful for Southampton docks. Where the crews would have rathered they were driving the USA tanks. And I do believe that if the Southern had had enough USA tanks, the E2s would not have survived that long. I don't think they would have been wanted at Southampton if they'd have had enough USA tanks to do the job. No, that's no good, blue tack. That's the way round. We do that, it's holding it better. Not as better as I'd like, obviously, because the plastic world still isn't sealing it. There we go. Got it. But yeah, maybe I'm unfair on E2s because I'm too used to Terriers that could continue doing the job they were designed for until the end of Steam. Fenchurch still pulling passengers on the Hailsham branch right up into the 60s. When it was the oldest engine on BR. You're allowed your opinion, Gary. Whether it's right or wrong is irrelevant. The problem is there, Thomas, that it's not an opinion. It is fact. The E2s failed at what they were supposed to do. That is a fact. The liking or disliking. Yeah, I do have two Model E2s. One as one first batch, one second batch. No Thomases were harmed in the process. It's a Shire Scenes kit for the extended tanks on the original Hornby model. Personally, I like them. A bit pants, but then again, I have a soft spot for most shunters. But it wasn't supposed to be a shunter. Now, the reason 2 of them got painted in umber is because they were supposed to be able to pull branch passenger services, and they couldn't. They were supposed to be all-round branch line engines, but they were terrible at it. What we can learn from that is that no one should ever give an E2 its own branch line under any circumstances, because it's just a terrible engine that's no good for branch line work. Alright, tank engines then, if we want to go down. Well, yes, we do. Because if you're saying tank engines rather than shunters, are you trying to say that I3s and L classes are shunters? Because they're most certainly not. Would you say it was not a useful engine? I would, Andy. I would say it was very much not. It was a really unuseful engine. But yeah, if we're going along the lines of calling all tank engines shunters, Thomas, the L class 464 with its 6'9" driving wheels, it's a heck of a shunter. I do feel somewhere the E2s could have done better, but it would probably need full rebuild akin to Tombow. But Thomas didn't get a rebuild. And they tried to make the E2s better. The whole point of the extended tanks was to improve them. It didn't work. So you can feel that they could have done better with some extra work done. However, the evidence is that no, they couldn't. Because they had that redesign to try and address their shortcomings. What they needed was replacing with Terriers. 4 times Avenue Show was rebuilt just to straighten the. I mean, it was in J94 being both ends pretty much. No, he never had he never had a proper rebuild. He was still the same engine. Just had his footplate done, didn't he? To look weird. Which was to correct the artist. Waiting for that message to come up in chat because I can't see it on the screen. Came longer though and deeper tanks. No. No, he didn't. He is E2 size. The only thing RWS Thomas is longer than is TV series Thomas, who is very much not E2 size. There is nothing short and stumpy about an E2. They're massive engines. And that is that last one of those on. I'm going to take those glasses off now. Well, we did this comparison about sizes and strengths and stuff with a an E2, a Ginty and a 57XX on Discord recently. Despite all being the same size, the E2 is significantly weaker and with worse range despite having more coal. The illustration shows shorty Mark 1 build, but E2 size post crash was always screamed to me to be a rebuild. No, that's an illustration error. Don't take the illustrations at face value. Take the stuff that the Reverend wrote as what it is. Remember, when the book started, although he looked like an E2 with his distinctive E2 style tanks, he wasn't an E2. As can be seen from the first set of models that were built to sit in the publisher's office, when they were described, and Thomas in there was, they described what all the locos were, and Thomas was described as an industrial tank engine of unknown origin. It wasn't until later on that it was decided he was actually an E2. So don't take the illustrations at face value because they don't necessarily match the canon for the RWS stories. And hydrate. Hydration is important. So the next step on these, cut out the ends, which we're going to do. We're going to run out of time to do much else, but we're going to do it. Discussing Thomas Law in ways like this. It's times I wish Luke was watching the live stream. because he could correct if either of us were wrong, because he's just clever like that and knows this stuff. Fun fact, most of the RWS background stuff I know is because Luke told me. Fair to be fair, this while for having personal headcanon, Tom's been prototyped a significantly better performance wise, but they found him too difficult to clean or oil properly. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. But of course, it is not correct to the actual stories. So going at my stop for dinner. It's been enjoyable as always. The car is progressing very nicely. Thank you, Andy. We will see you again next week. I hope you enjoy your dinner. I do not expect you to be back before we end, since we end in 10 minutes. But yes, eat, drink, and be merry. For tomorrow we play trains. But yeah, your headcanon makes perfect sense, Thomas. But of course, headcanons matter not in reality. And as you consider that our discussion was originally about actually twos, the fact that you've decided to feel the need to come up with a headcanon to explain him being better kind of proves my point, doesn't it? But also means I can open whatever length I want to. Well, yes, that's true. It does indeed mean that. There we go, one nicely cut out end. I'll tell you what, this is an interesting instruction coming up. It's cut out ends, then stick them to a 40 thou sheet, then cut round them. Well, Birch Road is now an official Lewis East Grinstead logo. It's certainly going to get Birch to meet Birch. Excellent. I think I voted on your Instagram poll about that. If I didn't, my vote is for yes to do it, obviously. And again, my headcanon has the first 6 engines, prototypes and experiments, which only 3 are confirmed to be. Yeah, see, I don't like going in for this whole it was a prototype thing as an explanation to stuff. It seems a bit lazy to me, if I'm being completely honest. I understand why people do it, because, you know, it gives you that extra freedom. That makes total sense. I'm just not a fan of it personally. No, you're the 40 foul. So we then stick these to this and then cut them out again. So that goes on there. Don't mean like true prototypes, I mean more like prototype feature sequel sticks, personally being an even side rubs it the wrong way, being a hybrid of that, which and others fits better for me personally. Yeah, but see that's the thing that I'm not so keen on, is this explaining everything away with it's a prototype. It's a that's not my thing. As I understand why people do it, and I understand why people like it. It's just not my thing. I totally get it as a thing and why you like it though. Headcanon sounds like an Austin weapon. Oh, it does, doesn't it, James? You're right. If I end up sitting here tomorrow, James, repairing locos and watching Austin Powers, I'm holding you responsible. And there we go. 23:58. That is going to be all we do for tonight. Yeah, that's fair. I think the whole experiment of prototypes thing is also to help stand out a bit, because if we all stuck purely to book law, it'd be boring to do. Yeah, that's fair enough. I think if everyone did the same, it would definitely be boring. So for one last time tonight, I'll remind you all that hydration is important. It's been a long time since I've been through that mug 3 times in a live stream. But yes, so we have the beginnings of an LSWR passenger brake. We have 2 sides. We have 2 ends stuck to some bits of plastic. They have had drop lights added. They have had vents above the doors added. They're looking rather smart, I do think. It's a shame that we're not going to be painting them on the live stream. They are, of course, going to go back to Linny unpainted. I mean, Linny will do a much better job of painting them than I ever would, so that's not a bad thing for the sake of them. Once an hour, as bad as me. Yeah, I normally only get through 2 mugs of a live stream, but it is really warm tonight. And of course, sitting under these big lights doesn't help that. Pumpkin. Indeed, James, it is pumpkin time. And I'll remind you all again, it says Deckhead. D-E-C-K. I'm assuming it's the floor. Look up Laura Branigan, Hot Night. Do I want to? So yeah, I've had a very nice time sitting here talking and modelling with you all. I hope you have too. Does a Deckhead support a head cannon? I'm going to say yes, James. Don't know, do you like 1980s? It's gone to where I can't see it. I'll wait for it to come up. Do you like 1980s music? I do like 1980s music. You should know this by now, James. Exclamation mark gold. Yeah, I've noticed my lights aren't too bad. What will be, I guess. Indeed. Do you have yours practically on your head, though, Thomas? Because mine really are right on top of my head. In that case, you will like Laura Branigan. Excellent. I will definitely look it up then. So yes, thank you for coming, everyone. So I've had a great time sat here talking with you all about lots of random stuff. It is fantastic to be back doing the live stream again after last week off. I hope we never have to have a week off again. Yes, if I've moved too quickly, I'll knock them down. Ah, fair enough. I won't knock mine down because they're literally embedded in the workbench. How can we twist? Can we? Yeah, so mine come down and are embedded. It goes into this leg. So there's no way I'm ever knocking that down. Pop an image in Discord in a second. Fair enough. I shall see it in not too long then. So yes, let's say I've had a great time here tonight with you. I hope you have too. I'm so glad to be back. I can't wait to get on with this carriage again next weekend. In the meantime, now that you repair locomotive leaving, does your workbench need a mauve repaint? No, it does not, James. Definitely not. So, yes. Thank you for coming. I have been Gary. This has been Let's Build. You have been awesome as always. Good night.